that was a complete, like, put the brakes on. This is different. I wasn't allowed to keep things to myself. He
Mhm.
wanted to know my wants, my needs, my dreams, my desires. He wanted to know how I was feeling, what I like, what I don't like, what my limits were, and help me grow. And it was just so hard for me to be able to, come to him with things because I was so used to just burying it down deep inside.
Welcome to the Dom Sub Living podcast, where you'll learn how to break free from the vanilla rut, unlock your true potential as a dominant or submissive, and finally make BDSM a lifestyle. I'm your kinky guide, Alesandra. Today, we're going to do things a little different, really fun. I'm going to share an interview I did at last year's Dom Sub Dynamic Summit that I hosted. It was an interview with someone who's actually one of my Dom Sub training students. And what I love about what she says in this interview is she gives us her key action step everyone can take to improve their Dom Sub dynamic. This person comes from a relationship coaching background, and she's going to share with us today how she was able to find her footing as a submissive and overcome a lot of mindset struggles that you may have on your journey as a Dom or sub too. And coming out of this interview, I was left really inspired, and I think you will too. But she shares some of her best tips for mastering your mindset as a Dom or sub. So let's hear from Leanne today from kink-informed.com. Her business is dedicated to exploring and embracing the diverse world of kink and alternative lifestyles. And she offers a wide range of resources, educational content, and community support to help individuals explore their desires and preferences in a consensual and informed manner. So we're all about that. And I'm just really privileged to have her as one of my students, but also as a dear friend too. So let's explore all of this. Here's the interview with Leann Herron from kinkyourway.com. So welcome, Leanne. It's so nice to have you here.
Thank you, Alesandra. I appreciate the invitation, and I really look forward to working with the community.
Yeah, definitely. So we can jump right in with the questions. So first, I wanted to ask you, maybe to start off by giving us an overview of your journey and how you got started with the Dom Sub lifestyle.
Sure. Actually, my initial introduction to kink and BDSM was probably erotica, reading books on my commute to and from work. I used to ride a train. But I was in a 20-year marriage, a very vanilla marriage. And the last probably 10 years of that were sexless. My ex got addicted to some meds and it stopped there. It ended up ending our marriage. So about a year after our divorce, I was really blessed and met a switch out on a date off of a dating website. And like one of his first questions in person was, "What's your kink?" And I was like, what are you talking about? I had never even broached that subject or, topic. But he was wonderful. He had been in the community for years, had a lot of connections with people on both sides of the slash. And, since I was interested in learning, he wanted to make sure I learned safely, and just, introduced me to the right people, leaders in the community on both sides of the slash. And I was able to learn and grow in safe environments. And so I was just really blessed. And then a few years in, I started dating my Dom, and I actually call him Sir, and found out that, he was in the lifestyle and had been since like college. So he'd been in a lot longer than me, but, we just had that immediate connection and just melded into a beautiful relationship.
That's awesome. So one question I had was that you said when you were starting to date and learn that your partner wanted to really make sure it was like a safe experience. So like, what were some of the things that made you have that foundation of safety?
He introduced me to, like a femdom group, and I was able to go to private play parties and really get to know them and get to experience and learn from, dominatrixes or, just femdoms. And I got to, try my hand at, having a male submissive. And I pretty quickly realized that really wasn't an interest for me. Like, I like to switch when I'm playing, but I was definitely born and raised to be a submissive.
Yeah, me too. I totally feel you there.
So, and then I got to be on the other side of the slash and go to play parties and munches and just feel safe. Like, I always knew that somebody was kind of watching my back and, making sure I wasn't just getting lost in sub frenzy and wanting to try everything and not being safe. They made sure that I learned in safe environments.
Mm-hmm. That's really good because, there's, kind of this like almost stereotype that, there's like so many fake doms out there. And while there is, it kind of overshadows the fact that the BDSM community as a whole is really welcoming, is really, big on safety. So I'm really glad that you got to experience that. So that's really beautiful.
Thank you. I was very lucky. I mean, I count my blessings every day. I never got myself in a bad situation, was always treated with respect. And they just let me, grow and learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really, really nice. So what are some of the mindset hurdles that you had to overcome on your journey?
The biggest one for me was communication, like with my sir, because, as I said, I was raised to be submissive, but I was raised to be silent, seen and not heard, respectful, take care of my spouse, raise my children. I didn't have an opinion. I didn't have needs and wants and desires. Everything was, set aside to take care of my family and raise my kids and be there for my husband. So, and it also was a point where we didn't really have good communication in our marriage. Like, it was easier for me to not say anything or voice an opinion or a need or a want. So I just basically learned to pick my battles and not have communication. And he never seemed to want it. So it was fine. But, when I started dating and married my sir, that was a complete, like, put the brakes on. This is different. I wasn't allowed to keep things to myself. He wanted to know my wants, my needs, my dreams, my desires. He wanted to know how I was feeling, what I like, what I don't like, what my limits were, and help me grow. And it was just so hard for me to be able to, come to him with things because I was so used to just burying it down deep inside. So that was probably my biggest hurdle that took time to overcome. But, he understood, he was patient with me, and he really learned to read me pretty quickly. So instead of holding things in for weeks, days, months, years, it was a day or, a half a day. And I was finally able to know that I had to bring my stuff to him and be able to do that, be able to say, sir, I need to speak. Sir, can we have this conversation? I'm struggling with such and such. But that was really hard for me because it just was so different having somebody that wanted to hear me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in a dom-sub relationship, communication, I think is, so much more important even than in a vanilla relationship. I think there's so much more focus on that. So how long do you think it took you to kind of finally know that this is a safe place and that you can speak up and be comfortable with speaking up? How long do you think that part lasted?
I would say, maybe only a couple of months.
Mm-hmm.
Because my sir is very attentive. And so it made it easy. I still struggled with my own inner demons, but, he was able to really help me bloom and blossom, in my submission. So it wasn't long. I mean, I still had hurdles every once in a while. Even within the last year, when I quit my job and was home full time, he likes to watch the news, and I cannot handle the news. It's too much negativity. And so it became very hard for me. It was almost physically painful. And so I had to come to him and just, let him know what it was doing to me. It was making me fear leaving the house, or fear going into a bank, or, just general fear was just overwhelming. So even though I felt safe in our home and in our space and together, outside our home, I didn't feel safe. Whether or not I was with him, like if he'd get out of the car and I'd stay in the car, I feared for his safety as well as my own.
Yeah.
So being able to, come to him with the one thing I knew was so important in his life was his news, and just say, I can't, if my option is to be in the room with you while you're watching news, it's a problem.
Yeah.
And so it was like almost instantaneous. He just like reached over, grabbed the remote and click. And that was it. So news is not on when I'm home. He's not buried under newspapers. He's focused on me and my mental health. And so it still comes up periodically where I have to remember my place and remember that I need to bring things to his attention, that he can't read my mind.
Yeah, definitely. And wouldn't you say too that there's a difference in how we approach our DOMs, like with an issue, like just in our approach and how we do it can go a long way to, softening the tension, softening the conflict too. Like, have you noticed that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I spend more time thinking to myself the proper approach than thinking to myself what's actually bothering me. And that's okay. That's a good thing.
Yeah. One thing I do is I write a lot. So I'll write out my response first, because sometimes, especially when you're upset, it doesn't come out right the first time. So like I write it, no, that's not what I want to say, cross it out, and, keep trying to get it better and better until, I know it's, respectful, and I know that it's, showing my place, and that, it'll be more favorable to him, and to ease that conflict. Yeah. It's all the things we have to learn as submissives on our journey. So
Absolutely.
Okay. So can you share some of like your best tips for mastering your mindset as like a dom or sub in the lifestyle?
For me, probably one of the biggest things, which was, just having healthy habits, and routines and rituals, and, not only starting my day with rituals and routines, but actually starting it the night before to lessen any stress, any worries. So, making sure the coffee pot's set and ready, the kitchen is clean, lunches are packed, my workout clothes are ready, my water bottle's filled, my headphones are charged, all those little things that become routine, really help me start my morning in the right place. And, I'm blessed that most mornings, unless my body wakes me up early, my sir wakes me up, and he'll come in and he'll touch my head and wait till I awake. And that immediately starts my morning in a mindset for him. I have time to practice gratitude and, be grateful for the bed that we share, for the life that we have, for him and how he cares and loves me. And then I'm able to, just go on about my morning, but I'm mindful all the time that everything I do reflects on me, that reflects on Sir. So our home is clean, our clothes are maintained and clean and ironed and all that kind of stuff. Getting in my exercise really helps my mindset as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's my mental health for sure. I can choose to listen to, and usually I do, I'll choose to listen to a podcast, whether it's, Evie Lupine or Loving BDSM, or, I found a new one called The Good, the Bad, and the Horrible. But I can listen to a podcast while I'm working out, as opposed to just music. Like, I focus on what is going to improve me and improve my health so that I can always be the best me, for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, it's like with all things, like if you don't use it, you lose it. So it's like, if you're not surrounding yourself with, the lifestyle and learning from others, like you said, through podcasts, you kind of get lost in the vanilla day to day. So I love how you said, making it a part of your routine. And I think that's, so helpful, for DOMs and for subs.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's probably one of my biggest tips, is just to take care of myself, so that as long as my cup is full and overflowing, I am in my best service to him. Mm-hmm. When I give and give and give and don't make time for myself, I just don't give him my best self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah. I raising kids and having a job outside the home, I was always drained. Never felt like I had enough energy, and it ended up making me resentful. And now it's like completely the flip opposite. Like, it's my purpose. I want to be my best self for us.
Yeah, definitely. Because like some of the things you mentioned, vanilla people do those things too, like exercising and, meditation, listening to podcasts, things like that, getting in the right mindset. But for DOMs and subs, when we do those things, it has, like you said, like a higher purpose. There's a point why we're doing it. So yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't wake up dreading, like, oh, I've got to get a workout done, or oh, I got to do this. I wake up raring to go to just be my best self, start my day in a good place, and have the energy I need to do everything I need to do throughout the day. Mm-hmm. And so my other, tip is education. It is probably one of the most important things for me. I don't think I ever stop learning. I'm always taking classes. I'm always attending summits and seminars and webinars and reading books and just getting as much current information from the people that are the best in their field. Mm-hmm. I want to learn from somebody that's gone before me, and, has most of the answers or all of the answers, and just learn from the best people around me so that I can always be at my best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what would you say is like the key action step, excuse me, everyone should like take to improve their dom sub dynamic?
Again, I think I'm going to say education. Mm-hmm. I think really being current, watching Like I love Sunny Megtron.
Mm-hmm.
I love Midori. I love Evie Lupine. I love people that are constantly doing the research and putting the most current information out there, because it makes me stronger, or it gives me information to maybe try something I haven't tried before. So I can say, I can tell Sir, I saw this on this podcast. Is it something maybe we can try, or I'd be interested in? And he really respects that I love education, because he's, an educator. And so it's a good connection for us, and it constantly keeps us talking on topic, like on current topics for our relationship.
Yeah. Not that many couples have something like that where, they have this shared mutual interest that benefits the relationship. So that's really beautiful that, us Dom sub couples have that to talk about.
Yeah. So that's probably my biggest suggestion for most people is, never stop learning.
Mm-hmm.
Always try to get the most current information, and learn from a lot of different people, get a lot of different perspectives, because I think perspective, it's more exciting. Like, okay, I didn't think about that, or, oh, that's interesting. Even yesterday, I did a short demo on electroplay with an anesthetician. And so I learned from her how she uses the violet wand or neon wand, while she learned from me. So it was exciting. It was like, oh, I didn't know it could be used for that. She was like, oh, I didn't know you could use it for that. Like, she didn't understand that it could be sensual or exciting, or, so to me, it's really exciting and nice to be able to have people that I can share that with.
Yeah. And I always say, like, especially, those of us that are educators and instructors in the lifestyle, I always say, like, none of us have a monopoly on this information. We all, we've learned, we've taken classes, and, now that, we've perfected it, then we can share it with others. But none of us have a monopoly on it. And so we can share it. There's always something to learn from someone else about their take on it. So like you said, learning from as many people and their style and their take on it is just really, really such an amazing thing. And then, because then we can turn around and make it our own. So yeah, totally agree. And I know you have some resources to help make it easy for everyone to overcome their mindset hurdles. So can you tell us a little bit about that and your website?
Sure. I have two websites. I have a Kink Your Way website, which is because I am a health and life coach. I wanted to be able to also be a kink-aware professional to help people in the community have an avenue for someone to talk to, and not, worry about shame or judgment, and just be able to be themselves. And then I have my coaching business, which is separate but not separate, which is Finding Resilience with Leanne. And in that, I also have, I do studio events where I host every week, like guided meditation and sound healing, just a safe space for women to come together in a place where they can talk about, their sex life or whatever they're having going on in their home in a safe, non-judgmental environment. So for the resource that I've done for both my coaching clients as well as for people in the lifestyle, which is something very important to me, is having that morning routine. So I've created a workbook that kind of explains, my daily routine and what it does or how those things start my day in a submissive mindset and keep me in a submissive mindset all day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so important. So, yeah, everyone who's watching, be sure to grab the Summit All Access Pass, because Leanne has that amazing submissive morning routine workbook in it. And I've been going through it. I've been loving it. So we'll have a link to that below this video, along with her link to her website. But yeah, Leanne, I've loved having you as a student in our DomSub training course, and just thank you so much for being here today, and just sharing your incredible journey and all of this wonderful information, and sharing it, so freely and from just a place of giving. I really appreciate that. So it's been nice having you here.
Oh, thank you so much. And I am constantly going back through my trainings, rewatching your videos, going through my workbooks, because as things change, it's nice to see that change.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to say, oh, well, this was once a hard limit, but it's not anymore. Where was that change? So yeah, I have a notebook that I keep everything, that I've gotten from you and the multiple trainings I've done with DomSub Living, and I share it with others to, show them what they can experience if they, purchase your products. And I'm very proud of what you do. It is amazing. And I'm honored to be part of your group.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, so everyone watching, be sure to head to those resources that Leanne mentioned and take note of those action steps that she said. So that way you can start putting these strategies into place in your relationship today. But yeah, we will see you next time.
Thank you. Take care.
Wow, I hope you enjoyed that interview with Leanne. If you want to check her out and check out her digital workbook, head to kinkyourway.com. She also has a great podcast called Kink Your Way, and I had the privilege of being a guest on her show. Now, all the links and resources will be on our show notes page at domsubliving.com/016. But I'm really in awe of her story and seeing her progress over the years, so hopefully it sparked you to take action, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you for joining me and being a part of the DomSub Living community, and a huge thank you to Leanne. You can check out all of the details and links for this episode in the description and show notes, and be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. But until next time, keep embracing your power and pleasure through DomSub Living. There's one more thing. If you're listening to this podcast, you probably want to become the best Dom or sub you can be and finally master the BDSM lifestyle, but maybe it's not as easy as you hoped. That's why I created the DomSub Living All Access Pass that's launching this week. It's everything you need to help you live the BDSM lifestyle to the fullest. And when I say you get it all, I mean it. The All Access Pass gives you access to all of our courses, workshops, trainings, and workbooks, all for an incredibly low price. But it gets even better, because you'll also get monthly private messaging drop-in coaching hours with me, access to our members-only community, monthly reviews for accountability, and access to all new courses we create in the next 12 months. You can check out the All Access Pass that's available this week at domsubliving.com/all-access. Get access to the skills, mindset, mentoring, and community, and finally live your BDSM life to the fullest. That's domsubliving.com/all-access. Can't wait to see you there. Are you looking for a dating app for kink and fetish alternative lifestyles? Check out our sponsor, KinkD. That's KINKD. KinkD is one of the most famous kink, BDSM, and fetish dating apps. They have been featured on HuffPost, Yahoo, Cosmopolitan, and more. KinkD allows you to find and meet local kinksters to fulfill your sexual fantasies. Go to kinkdapp.com to get your free membership. You can also find the app in the Apple App Store or on Google Play. Again, that's kinkdapp.com. Join now and get access to the free bondage, BDSM, kink, and fetish dating community for singles, couples, and swingers. That's kinkdapp.com. spelled Kinkd.